I recently independently made and released an EP. It's called Tortuga. You can listen to it here on YouTube or on Bandcamp if you're interested. This was the first time in a really long time that I formally put out any music, and it was really the first time I actually packaged any of my music together into a single product. I definitely learned a few things along the way, and I'm here today to share with you what I learned. For those of you new here, my name is Robert Rutledge. I am a Spanish translator and music producer, and this video is just going to be kind of a behind the scenes / walkthrough of the process of putting together this EP and releasing it on the internet. Disclaimer: these steps are not necessarily linear. Step number 1, planning. You want to know kind of what direction you want to go in, maybe some similar artists, how many songs are you shooting for, is there a specific runtime, budget, timeline, things like that. And if it helps, write it all in a Google Doc. Bookmark it, have that for reference. I think it helps to have like a unifying theme or genre. In my case, I really wanted to do this Latin music EP with kind of this like slow theme to it. In my personal case, I've found in music and in life in general, every time I try to rush things or I try to go really fast, I end up falling flat on my face. So I decided to embrace slow. If you have a unifying theme or a unifying direction, that will really help make your release more cohesive. And at this stage, you want to set your expectations. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I thought my EP was gonna be a bigger deal than it ended up being. You gotta set your expectations up front. Be like, what am I trying to achieve with this EP? Who do I want to listen to it? One of my kind of main motivations for my Tortuga EP was to establish myself as a serious music producer. I don't know if I've accomplished that, but I think I'm going in the right direction. Alright, so real quick, as for budget, in my case for Tortuga, I said I don't want to spend any more than $1,000. And as for timeline, I started in August, and I knew I wanted to release December because in Latin America, December is always the season for listening to music with family and friends, and I thought, hey, maybe if I give people something new to listen to, they'll be excited about it. Be sure to write all this down, and you can always change it as you go. Nothing's set in stone. That brings us to step 2, which would be composing / recording. Historically, this was done in 2 different steps, but I think us as electronic music producers, we kind of have the advantage of these 2 steps happening at the exact same time because of the advent of the DAW. I'd say Tortuga is like 95% MIDI and then the rest vocals and then a piano track. Okay, so maybe some of you out there are saying, but Robert, I'm not a composer, I'm a producer. Well, I think a lot of the big guys that we kind of look up to in the EDM world, people like David Guetta and Skrillex, are actually maybe more composers than they are producers. The lines have become blurred. It's just a very funny debate we can have, the whole composer versus producer. Maybe that's a video for another day. Okay, so this might be the easiest of all these steps, especially if writing music and coming up with new ideas is something that comes pretty naturally to you. But in my experience, it's a lot of trial and error. You're gonna make some songs that don't really turn out too great and they don't make it up on the final cut. I think I was listening to an interview with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they were talking something crazy, like they'll have a 12-song album and they had like 50 songs that they wrote specifically for the album. Don't be afraid if you make a song that ends up shitty. I think there should be more music that doesn't make it onto the release that does, and then who knows, maybe you could do B-sides or whatever. So there's this really great YouTuber, and she's a composer. Her name's Anne Catherine Dern. She always, at the end of every one of her videos, she says, go practice. She recently released a video, and she was just kind of harping on that we as composers or producers, really need to treat our craft the same way musicians treat their craft. A guitarist will practice guitar X amount of hours a day, and we as producers should do that as well. The more you practice composing, the better you'll get at it. It's a very slow game, trust me. If you want to get some feedback on your demos, I'd recommend doing what I did and find a Discord server of people at a similar skill level as yourself. Have them listen to your demos to get a fresh set of ears. Okay, so the next step is mixing. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome going in, but I did decide to mix my own music. I did it on headphones, which I know there's a big controversy about that, I guess, but I think I got pretty decent results. The thing I like about headphones, I live kind of in a noisy neighborhood. I don't really want to contribute to that noise, and then I don't like having my wife being able to listen to my music, and then either A, she'll give me some feedback and then I'll start to doubt myself, or B, she starts getting annoyed by listening to the same song 50 million times. Maybe a professional mixing engineer would have done a better job than I did, but I really like having the creative control. I think it's a fun process. Hold on one second, I got a book for you guys. So this book is called Mixing with Impact, Learning to Make Musical Choices. I would highly recommend getting this book. It's a bit pricey, but I found it well worth it. It is very well written. It gets you thinking about music in ways you've never thought about it before. Acoustics, effects processing. The last step would be mastering, and I did decide to hire someone, and that would be Camilo Silva F. or Camilo Silva F. I'm not sure which he prefers. I hired him and I am really pleased with the results. He's worked with people like Carlos Vives and Juanes, and he just really knows what he's doing. I think I just Googled Latin music mastering and he was one of the first people to pop up. Extremely professional, really easy to work with. I found his rates reasonable. I'd hire Camilo again in a heartbeat. That brings us to our actual release. There are a plethora of options available. You can go through a distributor. I decided not to go through a distributor because I don't see why that's super necessary in the digital age. I can see for a supermarket, you need someone to distribute physical goods, but for digital music, I mean, come on. I went into this EP knowing I was going to lose money off of it. That was never something I wanted to do with this EP. I really just wanted to build a reputation for myself. Laugh at me all you want. I think in 2026, independent musicians can be their own distributors. And I think the big thing with the distributor, you really need to kind of already have somewhat of a following if you expect to see any return on that. And I don't. No one knows who the hell I am, and that's okay. So I decided to do this independently, and I think it was a good decision. That all being said, if you decide to go with a distributor, I won't judge you. That brings us to the packaging. Album artwork is very important. I originally wanted to hire someone to do a watercolor turtle, but that ended up just being pretty expensive, so I just decided to do it in Canva. So one thing to keep in mind, depending on the different platforms you use, you want to make the dimensions match that. So go to the platform or even Google it. For example, on YouTube, it has the widescreen resolution. So I did have to do a different dimension for YouTube than I did for Bandcamp, since Bandcamp is the traditional square. Something else to consider is visualizers. This just seems to be kind of a relatively recent trend, maybe in the past 10 years or so, as opposed to just having the static artwork up on your YouTube. You have an animation. And I did this myself, again in Canva. I turned my Tortuga turtle silhouette into a turntable. It took a little bit of effort to get it synced up, but I'm pretty pleased with the results. Then for the last song on the record, which is called Paciencia, it's just a solo piano performance. So I literally just shot myself in the studio. That sounds funny, I took a video of myself. So yeah, that was a pretty easy way, free way to do a music video. I kind of saw it as Here's the man behind the curtain. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Thank you for being here if you made it this far. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And oh, wait a minute. I'm forgetting one step. Promotion. Da da da. Okay, don't skip this step and then go complaining to me that no one listened to your music. This is maybe the hardest step, but maybe it's the easiest step. I know for my case, I used to be like a really shy person and it was really hard for me to talk about my own music, but I think I've kind of gotten past that, and I really do believe in this Tortuga release. I think this is my most serious music to date. So I texted everyone in my phone about it and on WhatsApp as well. I scheduled the text messages in advance. I used a semi-personalized template. So I was kind of treating my phone contacts like an email list, but it was a little more personalized than that. Not all the messages made it to the intended recipient, and unfortunately. I think that might be due to spam filters, or there's also different types of text messages. I had no idea, but that's the route I went. I'm not gonna lose sleep over this. Glad I at least tried something. And then the other thing I did, I sent kind of an electronic press kit to a few different Latin music digital publications, and I haven't heard anything back yet, but again, at least I tried. Okay, so that's the end, folks. I promise this is the actual end. Thank you so much for being here if you've made it this far. I wish you the best of luck in your own EP, and if you got any value out of this video at all, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Let me know about your own experience, and let me know what you would have done differently down in the comments. Have a great day.